You're welcome to Reviews and Recaps. So today we're going to be talking about Ready to Love Reunion Part 2. Okay, so let's get into it before I share my final thoughts on the episode and the season in general. All right, let's get into the recap. So the episode started with a scene where the host was directly talking to Zadia. And the host had the cheek to say to Zadia that a lot of drama was coming her way. And she thought Zadia was handling it with grace. I was like, well, girl, hey, back up. Wait, what do you mean she's handling it with grace? A lot of drama is coming her way because she created the drama, one. And also, a lot of drama is coming her way. And what do you mean? She acted with grace. She's handling it with grace. Girl, she was dismissive. She had the fake smile on from the start of the show till the end. It was cringy to watch. It was actually creepy. It was like, girl, oh my God, someone is angry at you. You're smiling. I'm upset at you. She had that permanent grin on her face. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't believe in violence, but girl, someone should have just been like, can you stop smiling? Like, and let's talk and stop being fake. Let's have a proper conversation. You know, how is it that people are calling you out and stuff and you have this fake smile on the whole time? It was so uncomfortable to watch. I'm surprised no one called her out on it. And honestly, I personally believe the host did not watch the show. I really don't believe she watched the show. I think she probably watched a few episodes, didn't fully watch it, or they gave her some clips to watch, but she didn't watch the whole thing. And I'm sure it's also because she was probably asked to cover the reunion last minute. Because if she had watched the show, there was no way she would have just made it seem like Zadia was handling it with grace. And it was almost like undermining or dismissive of the fact that everyone or most people had issues with Zadia because of Zadia's actions. Anyways, Sabrina's face through it all. I was like, guys, you guys should have just put Sabrina's face everywhere. Her facial expressions. She was not having any of Zadia's BS. Not one. The whole time I was like, girl, you were not having any of her. I feel like at this point, Sabrina was just like, yeah, nah, I'm done. I don't want to hear nothing this woman has to say. I do not believe her. Yeah, nah, that's that. And so they showed Mumeen and Walter. And so they showed the episodes with Mumeen, like a recap of, Mumeen and Walter's connection. And I could tell that Mumeen actually really liked Walter. But when Mumeen said, I really think someone is manipulating you, I think that really caught it out for Walter. Walter was not having any of it. Walter I think his feelings towards Mumeen changed in that moment. Now, I don't think Walter was ever serious about actually dating whilst he was on the show, if I'm being honest. Because he wasn't actively pursuing his so-called best connection, Sabrina. Like, I don't know about you, but if a man tells me he likes me, but he don't call me, like, what do you like, honey? You ain't like me. Like, you cannot. Because you're not even calling me. So what's the point? It just doesn't make any sense. And what I did notice, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I thought this was really cute, right? So, you know when Mumeen was like, I think someone's manipulating you, I watched that part very closely. And I could see that Phil, in that moment, literally placed his hands on Sabrina to comfort her. And I thought that was interesting. Phil is very in touch and in tune with feelings and, being affectionate, but also being expressive. And the fact that he was there and, thoughtful enough to actually comfort Sabrina, because he knew Mumeen was pretty much saying Sabrina is manipulating you. And so he was there to literally just, caress her hand a little bit and give her a little bit of comfort. I thought that was cute. If you guys didn't see that, because I know sometimes you watch stuff, but you might not see like the little things that happen here and there. I think you guys should go and watch it. It was a little cute moment between Phil and Sabrina. But it also made me realize that I bet Sabrina and Phil are really good friends in real life. I suspect that they've had multiple talks about that particular scene It just gave me that vibe. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys catch that bit? Or was it just me? Or am I just being so pedantic and analytical? Or did you guys see that? All right, let's move on. So when they moved on to talking about Sabrina and Walter, right? Walter said that he never really had an issue with Sabrina's decision not to continue into a relationship with him at the end. And he thought that they were closer, than for Sabrina to literally just make the decision in that moment. You know what I think it was? I think Walter's ego couldn't handle the fact that he chose this woman on the last day in the last episode of the season, and she said no. I think that's what it was. And took his flowers and went home. I was like, girl, you took his flowers? She was like, yeah, I'm taking those flowers. She literally took the flowers and went off. And I think that's what upset Walter. Walter was like, well, she could have called me. We could have had a conversation. And, I thought we were closer than that. I'm like, wait, you thought you were closer than someone who would what? You thought you were closer to her than that, but you don't even call her on the phone. Throughout this season, she's talked about how the men didn't call her, including you. So how close could you have possibly been if you don't call her? A lot of things are not adding up, Walter, and that's why I'm very interested to watch the interview that I see it come out today with Little Black Book. So I'm gonna have a look at that, because I was like, wait, Walter, things aren't adding up. You're saying she's your number one, and you're not calling her on the phone. So what's good? Like, yeah, nah. Now, Sabrina was grinning the whole time Walter was talking about, I thought we were closer than that. For her to just bring it up at the end, Sabrina was just like, this man is full of BS. This man is full of it. And I don't blame her. Because it's one thing for you to constantly and consistently say that I'm your number one, but you don't call me. It's like your mouth is saying something, your actions are not lining up. I just don't get that. And so I think she was just out of it. She was just tired of it, frankly. I don't blame her. Like, I've been in situations where the guy will be like, oh my God, I love you, but you don't call me regularly. What kind of love is that? Whatever love you're serving, I do not want any of it. So yeah, I think Sabrina definitely made the right decision. Now, it was interesting. Did you guys see when Mumeen actually said that she felt like the second person when it came to Walter, and that she felt like a secret lover rather than being number one with her connection with Walter, and she felt like Sabrina was the number one. Now, I felt that as well. I know certain people have said, that they thought Sabrina, that Mumeen and Walter were a good match. Now, I think they look cute together. I think they had a connection, but I don't think that Walter was... I don't think Mumeen was Walter's first and number one connection. I think it was more Walter and Sabrina. I think Walter and Sabrina had that connection. Now, I don't think it was that huge a connection, but I think it was a connection compared to everyone else. So it made sense, if that makes any sense. So I can understand Mumeen feeling like second fiddle, because the way he was interacting with Sabrina versus the way he would interact with Mumeen, there was a difference, especially when it was in group settings. And I think there was a huge difference. And if I'm being correct, Walter had referred to Sabrina as being his number one during deliberations a few times as well. So I definitely understand when Mumeen said that she felt like number two as well. Now the gag is, if Sabrina, who was meant to be his number one, felt like number two, and Mumeen felt like number two, does that mean Walter has a number one somewhere? Do you think Walter has a side chick? or I guess his main chick now, somewhere, and had or was dating with someone at the same time he was filming. Now, this is all allegedly. This is not even a rumor. I'm saying, do you think? So please don't quote me anywhere and say like I said that Walter had. I'm just saying, could that be why Walter couldn't focus on the, ready to love and choosing Sabrina and actually putting more effort into their connection? Plus, I think once Walter heard that Sabrina used to be a stripper, he was not interested, to be honest. But yeah, anyways, we move on. Before I move on, actually, I will say something. On the show, I personally believe Sabrina was Walter's number one. Do you guys agree, or do you guys think it was Mumeen? Let me know in the comment section. I think Walter and Mumeen would have been a better fit, but I think Walter and Sabrina had a better connection, just in terms of Walter actually had more of a connection with Sabrina than he had with Mumeen. Now, I think Walter is for the streets. I think Walter is either dating other people. I think he was dating other people whilst he was on the show, or he's just a man that is used to women pursuing him. Guys, speaking of pursuing, I dated someone once and he wanted me to pursue him. He had the cheek to say he likes being pursued. I said, you like being pursued, I like being pursued, so who's gonna do the pursuing? And when his actions started to show me that he wanted me to be the one calling him more, he wanted me to be the one putting in all this effort, going out of my way for him, and he wanted to do the barest minimum, I'm like, yeah, not for me. You go find someone out there who will pursue you, but it ain't gonna be me. The end. Perhaps he needed a Courtney, because Courtney will do pursuing even if she does nothing else. She will pursue, honey. She will do that. But my name is not Courtney. I'm never gonna do that. Anyways, we knew. So I did think the hug between Walter and Sabrina was an emotional one. It was almost like, you know when like you see an ex and you guys still kind of have feelings for each other, but you can't work because you're not a good fit and you're both not where you need to be, or one person isn't where they need to be. It's that hug where it's like, we still care about each other, but we can't date kind of hug. That's what I felt, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just bugging. At this point, perhaps I'm like reading into too many things, because the reunion wasn't giving anything. Am I the only one who was annoyed by the editing of the reunion as well? It was like, it wasn't following through. There wasn't a natural progression. It felt like conversations were just chopped in half. Like, I have a lot of questions. Was it that there wasn't enough content to edit? Was it that the editing was just all over the place? Like, or the whole thing was, to be honest, the whole season was a snooze fest. And I guess they couldn't do much because the reunion just had to be a snooze fest as well. Also, Uncle Tommy wasn't there. Uncle Tommy would have been a way better host, because he would have gotten to the bottom of everything. And I think would have at least had a better reunion, even though the season was dry anyway. Anyways, let's move on to Cornelius and Courtney. So can I just say, Miss Courtney is a beautiful girl. Now, I did not like what she did to her hair at the reunion, but one thing you can't deny is that girl is a beautiful girl. Like, when I see her in the fro, I'm like, girl, you were stunning, you were beautiful, you have the cutest smile. She is just cute, and I love that she's very honest. Now, you might not like the way she approaches men, you might not like how she dates. I don't particularly like it, but she is a beautiful girl. Now, when she kept saying, I'll go after what I want in the dating thing and this, she was coming across as pursuing a man. And I think she would have been better with that ex of mine, because she would have pursued him to the ends of the earth, and he would have done the barest minimum, and she would have probably been cool with it. But yeah, that's not my cup of tea. But yeah, there are people out there, there are women out there who want to be the one to chase the men. I don't know what it is. It can never be me. But if that's what you do, I hope you enjoy it, but it can't be me. All right, so when they were talking about Cornelius and Courtney, can I just say that was the shortest segment ever? Like, I'm not being funny, but I feel like Courtney was one of the people that were on the show for a while. At least I think she must have done at least 5 to 6 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. But the way they cut that part of the reunion, I think she was literally there for maximum 5 minutes, probably less. And I was just like, I don't like that. I don't really think they got to the bottom of like the connections and a lot of things that they should have gotten to the bottom of. And even at the reunion, they didn't ask Cornelius any questions regarding the relationship or the connection with Courtney. I didn't like that at all. I was just like, what is a reunion if you're not going to ask questions that really matter? I just wasn't here for it. Cornelius didn't speak. I really hope the new season of Ready to Love is better. Like, I know a new season is coming out, next week? I really hope it's better than this nonsense, because this was a snooze fest. And I was just like, yeah, it's not giving what it needs to give. And yeah, I'm just tired of the BS. Like, the reunion, this is probably the driest reunion I've ever watched. I hate to say it, but the first season of Ready to Love was still the best season. And that is not a good thing. You know, with every season of a show, you expect it to get better. Now, of course, sometimes they try something, it never works or something. But we're now on season 5? Like, you would expect that they should have gotten a good hang of things by now. But it seems like it's going downhill. So I do hope this new season of Ready to Love is good. I'm going to cover it, so I'm going to be doing reviews and recaps on that. But I do hope it's better than this last season we were subjected to. But anyways, and if nothing else, at least we should have had Uncle Tommy for the reunion. Like, Uncle Tommy should have just done a Zoom reunion. I would have watched that. I would have probably enjoyed that a little bit more. Or if you're going to use a Tanika, then please make sure Tanika watches all the episodes, and please make sure that Tanika actually has good questions to ask. It just wasn't given, guys. It just wasn't given. To be honest, I watched it while on the train because it just wasn't it. Like, there was nothing. Anyways, let's talk about Corey and the girls. Corey. So when Corey started crying and talking about he was looking for the approval of the girls. Now, I agree with what he said. And I agree that his actions throughout the season showed that he was one of those people. He used to be such a nerd and probably did not get the attention from women. But suddenly, he grew into this attractive looking man, a chocolate brother, sexy looking, right? And now he doesn't know how to act. It's like someone who used to be overweight and they lose so much weight and they're now wearing all sorts of outfits and they dress a certain way and they then start to have this crazy, it's not even confidence, it becomes arrogance, because you're like, oh yes, I can get anyone I want, I look like this, I can wear this, I feel like Corey was so used to being insecure and looking a certain way that when he then grew into his looks, he was still, I think his mentality is still that of that insecure little boy. Now, I know therapists, I know psychologists, but that's what I think. Because I feel like the way he's moving very, very childishly. He's doing copy and paste. It's almost like he wants all of the women to like him, to think he's a good man. He's overcompensating. That is the word. That is the word I was looking for. He's overcompensating with every single thing that he does. When he cried, now, I'm going to be honest, the way he cried, it was weird because everyone was like, is that real? Is he being real? Is he lying? Is he acting? Now, I have to be honest with you, all right? I can't sit here and tell you guys it didn't cross my mind as to whether or not he was lying. It really did. I kept thinking like, yo, are you crying on cue? Are you just like, oh, let me bust into tears so that people will forgive all of my indiscretions? People will forgive the way I was moving. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Now, one thing I will say about Corey is he is definitely misunderstood. So when Sabrina proceeded to defend him and said, you know, she's spoken to Corey so many times and she knows that he's very misunderstood, I agree with that. And do you know why I agree with that? Guys, I've watched interviews with Corey. And what I've noticed about Corey is Corey does not think the way most people think. Corey thinks completely different. I'm so curious as to his background. He thinks so differently compared to like how normal people think, or normal in quote, or the average person would think, right? I don't want to say normal, right? Everyone is to an extent, right? The average person will think. And I say that because like I was watching an interview and the way Corey was thinking about things and explaining the way he was thinking about things, it just wasn't the way generally an average person would think about it. But when he explained it, I didn't agree. But when he explained his rationale, then I could understand how he came to that conclusion. He's just one of those quirky people, right? That just happen to be good looking. And then he's like, oh, what can I do with this? I still feels like a quirky soul. Now, there were a lot of things that he did on the show, including when he was, scooting over with Mumeen and literally trying to ride the tree with her. Now, that was uncomfortable to watch. And I could tell Mumeen was uncomfortable. Mumeen is a sweet girl, so she probably just was like, okay, let me not embarrass this man on national television. But the whole scene looked creepy, uncomfortable, and just should not have happened. So for me, I'm like, the host should have brought that scene up. Because I remember when that scene came out, people were on social media. People were having dialogues about this. So to me, these are things that should have happened, but did not happen. And I just didn't understand why I didn't. To me, I'm like, what were they doing? What was the host doing? But at the same time, maybe the whole thing was rushed. Maybe the host had to fill in last minute. Because if Uncle Tommy was unwell with COVID or whatever, perhaps he found out he had COVID last minute and then she had to step in and didn't have enough time to watch. So we need to give a little bit of grace to the lady, Tanika, for hosting it. But one thing about Corey is, let's say the world says 2 + 2 is 4. Corey is going to think 2 + 2 is 0. That's just how he thinks. He just thinks differently. A lot of things he said is problematic. A lot of things he did on the show is problematic. And I really do hope Corey actually gets some therapy. I feel like there are a lot of things happening in his head that he needs to unlearn. There's a lot of mentality. He has a lot of things in his mentality that he needs to change. And I think that he will probably be able to unlearn that when he actually has those conversations with someone who can guide him. Even if it's not therapy, he needs a coach, someone that can get into his head and try to help him out with that. And he's meant to be a first date coach. Well, I guess Corey has interesting takes on dates and stuff like that. But I don't know. I guess first date coach does not mean date coach. It's not a dating coach. It's just a first date coach. So he'll tell you what to do on your first date, but he can't tell you how to keep your relationship. So I guess it works for him in that sense. Anyway, so we move on to To-Sia and Corey. So apparently To-Sia and Corey had a connection. Well, we didn't get to see that on the show, but it was interesting actually watching their never before scenes together. And it looks like they actually seemed really cute together. they had like this banter going on. And I've never seen To-Sia have that much fun on a date with anyone. I think other than probably Sean. But I think they had such a good banter. So I was like, okay, To-Sia and Corey. But it was interesting how To-Sia said, I've been waiting for Corey to tell the truth the whole time. I laughed so hard. I was like, girl. Like, and like To-Sia was talking about getting text messages from Corey, and then Corey was, the whole thing just did not make any sense. I felt like the host should have asked more follow-up questions. What sorts of text messages were you getting from Corey? Corey, are you saying you didn't send text messages? You know, I felt like the host wasn't asking follow-up questions that needed to be asked. The thing is, like, I'm not even saying, like, even if you don't know about the show, right? If someone brings up a point that could be important, you find out more information about that point. That's just how my brain works anyway. Like, if someone's like, oh, so I was meant to be going to this place yesterday, and then I saw that, you know, I saw that this person texted me. I'm like, oh, who texted you? What did they text you? You know, it's just follow-up questions so that you truly understand what's going on. So I was a bit shocked about that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm extra. But yeah, I was just like, I don't know about that. But one thing I didn't like also, I have to say, was when Corey was talking about the To-Sia situation, they kept interrupting him. Now, I know Corey is long-winded. I know Corey goes around and talks like a politician. I know that. But when you let Corey speak, and I say this, I think, because I watched some of his interviews, when you let Corey speak, he will eventually get to the point. Like, if you just have a little bit of patience to actually hear him speak. Now, sometimes, one thing I've noticed that I think annoys people is he does not give a direct answer. Let's say you're like, did you text him? He'll probably be like, so on the 14th and the 15th, we're talking about this, and then when we finished, I texted. Like, did you or did you not? That's the thing with Corey. Sometimes you have to ask really direct questions, and when he doesn't answer, you have to go back again with a really direct question. Corey, no. Simple, yes or no now. Did you or did you not? You know, I feel like with people like that, the way they think, you know, it's the same way with Sean as well. Now, I'm not comparing them in any way, but I'm just saying that Sean also has this long-winded thing where it's like, if you want him to say something and he's going off and explaining the rationale behind it, but you want to get to a simple yes or no, you need to ask more direct questions. Everyone is different at the end of the day, but you have to be willing to hear what the person is saying and how they're saying it, and, you know, just a little bit of grace, I would say. Anyway, so let's move on. So they were showing clips with Zadia, and everyone's faces were just like, yeah, they were over it. They were not feeling her excuses. That woman has no accountability. She takes no accountability for anything. Yeah, it's like, no matter what it is, it's like one of those people that will kick you and be like, oh, did I kick you? Oh, bless you. Like, no, you apologize. Like, what in the world? Yeah, so that was just not it. And then the host shifted gears and started talking about Dante and Aisha and asking whether they're in a relationship. And can I just say, Dante and Aisha looked really cute. I have to say, they looked cute together. The chemistry was there. You could tell when, like, Aisha was having conversations with, like, other people. They kept, like, Dante kept, rubbing her and trying to calm her down and, you know, support her without joining in the argument. And I thought that was sweet, you know, giving his babe a little emotional support. I'm like, all right, I'm here for it. And then the host proceeded to ask Aisha whether she cooked for Dante in a lingerie. I'm like, okay. Aisha said yes. I was not surprised about that, because one thing Aisha loves to do is cook. And that woman dresses sexy all the time. Do you remember that outfit that she wore when Dante was giving her a massage? I was like, girl, that ass was out. Everything was out. So I'm not surprised she wore a lingerie to cook for her man. Just saying. Just saying. Do you know what the highlight of this reunion was for me, guys? The highlight of this reunion was when Camille was literally making crazy facial expressions. Well, not just Camille and Zadia were making crazy facial expressions when the host was talking to Dante and Aisha about their relationship. Camille looked upset. I'm like, why are you upset about these people being happy? You're meant to be happy with Cornelius, like she always calls him, you know? So I'm like, girl, you're meant to be happy over that. Why are you upset that they actually seem genuinely in love? Whilst you and your man, you look like you held that man hostage, baby. You held that man hostage. That's pretty much what it looked like. That's what it was given. But yeah, if you guys did not see the facial expressions, I'm begging you, please do it for your girl. Go back and watch that. Like, honestly, guys, when you see the facial expressions, you know why I said it was the highlight. Because nothing else was entertaining on this episode. Nothing. There wasn't a moment where I was like, wow, this is a fun part. There wasn't. Like, I guess the last fun thing that happened was when the host started asking everybody, you know, would you like to shoot your shot? And then Tyrone said, you know, is the host included? That was the highlighting funny bit. Can you believe that? Like, that was the only bit where it was like, wow, this is funny. The rest was not. Like, it wasn't giving anything. Like, so now this is my review about the episode, right? The whole thing, I kept thinking, whoa, this is pretty much a waste of my time. Like, I just was not having it. There were lots of gaps throughout. I felt like the editing just didn't do anyone any favors. It was like nothing, no favors whatsoever. I did not like the episode, if I'm being honest with you guys. But what did you guys think? Did you guys think the episode was entertaining? I was not entertained. I really tried to make this review as lighthearted as possible, but I wasn't even entertained, so I couldn't entertain you guys as much as I would have loved to. Like, it was not giving anything. It was giving zero, nothing. Now, the one thing that was giving is the word on the street is that Cornelius was dating another woman in November, which was around the time I think the reunion was filmed. So, allegedly. I don't know what's really happening there. But I watched the live video between the lady, I think it was Courtney and Simone. Now, one thing, it feels like there were a little bit of holes in her story, but she showed some receipts. So, I don't know what it is. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please give this video a thumbs up. And please make sure you share. And please tap that bell for notifications. Well, subscribe first. Subscribe. And tap that bell for notifications so you know every single time that I post. I will be covering the new season of Ready to Love. So I want you guys to support your girl by sharing, by subscribing, by tapping that bell so that, like, when I post it, you know, I would have already been on a lot more subscribers so we can get the word out. Your girl is still a new YouTuber. I don't have that many subscribers yet. So at this point, I'm begging for the subscribers, okay? All right, guys. See you guys later. Bye.